Good evening, everybody, to the Thursday Night Forum. Welcome to one and all Arsenal fans here. This is Arsenal Fan Circle. Pull up a chair. You're all welcome here. Expecting a couple of people to join me tonight, and let's discuss where we are this season. Following on from the game on Sunday versus Liverpool. Very, very disappointing display. Hopefully, we'll get a chance to break down what happened there. A little bit like Bournemouth, everything is a little bit Arsenal's, a little bit on Arsenal and their performance, turning up, playing well. A little bit of something is to do with Mikel Arteta and maybe making changes sooner in games as well. And a little bit of something definitely on Sunday for me was the referee tilting the pitch a little bit in Liverpool's favour, I have to say. I've just found the last 30, 40 minutes of that Liverpool performance, the referee didn't give us anything. You could be benevolent and say he was letting the game flow. At that point, Arsenal were dealing with some players, one out through suspension and William Saliba, and a few players that playing in different positions again as well against Liverpool. So, listen, throw in your comments as we go along here. But I want to welcome the Arsenal Misfit. Stephen is here with me as well. Mr. Lowey's here. Hey, y'all. Thanks for joining us, and let's make this an interactive experience, an interactive show as we move forward tonight. So, yeah, we'll talk a little bit about Liverpool, and we're going to look forward to the game on the weekend. After drawing at home to Liverpool and losing to Bournemouth, we as Arsenal fans, we know we've dropped 5 points now from the last 6 possible. So if Liverpool was an important game, definitely Newcastle away from home is going to be a must-win. It's got to be a must-win game for me moving forward now. We see there's a tough schedule ahead for Arsenal, and we're going to get into the Carabao Cup game as well, and one Ethan Nwaneri. Yeah, I believe Gary will be joining. I haven't seen anything to the contrary, so maybe Tony will join and Gary will join. BX Gunner, thanks for being in the house. Good evening, everyone. And Red John is always here. Is good to see you, Red John. What's up? How you doing? Hope everybody is enjoying the Halloween night. And Sunday for me was a little bit of a horror show, but we returned to normal ways with a nice effective win away to Preston North End. The only other team who could say that they were invincibles, separated by a century. The Arsenal Misfit, Stephen said, for me, the Liverpool game has confirmed that the Premier League is the worst run major league of the 15 or so sports I watch. Yeah, and I used to think it was incompetence. I used to think it was really poorly run, and the application of the rules was very loose and subjective. But I'm starting to think it might be, a little bit of a result manipulation. And you look back through the other seasons, and you can see Arsenal mysteriously dropping points. Even last season, Aston Villa away from home, we have a penalty disallowed from a foul on Gabriel Jesus, and we have a goal disallowed by handball. I don't know how they even saw that against Kai Havertz. The anniversary game with Newcastle this weekend, we all know what happened at Newcastle. First time ever the ball was deemed to be in play when it actually crossed the line. And even if it didn't cross the line, there was 3 other instances, offside, handball, and a foul on Gabriel Jesus to point to. But they allowed the goal from Joe Linton last season. So a couple of other instances where the referees have intervened in a very, very, let's say, a very strange way. Also, the West Ham game at home, another one where they said that the foot of the West Ham player was covering the entirety of the ball, and there was no way they could tell if it went out of play or not. So um, I'm finding it hard to believe that things like this are not um, being presented just toward Arsenal. Um, Hawkwin, thanks for being here. Um, AFC always. Um, and I see BX Gunner. Why did Arteta bring on Saka for the last 30 minutes last night? There was no need for it. Yeah, listen, a lot of people will agree with you, but here's a very, very valid way to think about it. All of the players, even the players who don't go on the field and play, will take laps at the end of the game. We'll do laps around the pitch. We'll do a 20, 30 minute warm up and warm down. And that's because athletes they're conditioned to playing every 2 or 3 games, and their body needs that exercise. So it's like a training regime. And Bukayo Saka came on for the last 30 minutes last night to keep his rhythm, to keep his flow. And you can't argue with the way Mikel Arteta is approaching Bukayo Saka because you're seeing the results on the field. Are you trying to tell me that the goal against Liverpool was not world class? Because I'll argue it was world class, and and that's the reason why Mikel Arteta brings Bukayo Saka to Preston North End, and he sits for an hour or over an hour, and is able to come on then and get some rhythm into his legs. We've got a big game on Saturday against Newcastle, and we have to be ready to be able to face. So yeah, I hope Gary will be coming on. I don't haven't seen anything to the contrary exactly. BX, I'm sorry I'm not dealing with AFC always tonight, right? Listen, I just think about it a little bit, BX. Um, it's just opinions at the end of the day. It's loose and subjective when it comes to Arsenal, Mr. Lowy. Preston North End's invincible was only 26 games, I believe. Not the same as what Arsenal and Bayern Leverkusen, of course. But you can only create history within your own time, within your own era. And Preston North End, while it was 26 games, that's still a difficult feat to go 26 games unbeaten. Arsenal's invincibles won, I think, 26 games and drew 12 of them. Uh, that's like a third of the games less. Yeah, fair enough. I'll take that. So Ray, you said manipulation. That means you believe the league is corrupt. Is that correct? Yeah, I do believe the league is corrupt. I believe that I've started to believe it more recently now. Just as Arsenal fans and this team getting better and better. Um, we seem to come up on the wrong end of decisions, and time again, you see Man City getting decisions in their favor as well. Brownie, hope you're doing well, all the way from Aussie, I think. Right, John. AFC always. I don't think it matters because if Saka plays, then he does less training the following day. It works out to be the same thing. Exactly. That's what I was saying, Red John. All of these players in the squad are, athletes, professional athletes, and the coaches and the medical staff are there to monitor each and every one of them. And they're there to monitor their workload throughout the year. And, we used to hear about Arsene Wenger and the red on the limit, players being on the limit or in the red zone. He probably give Saka a day off. So yeah, listen, I think it'll be an opportunity for me in the chat to chat along tonight. Evening all, Michael. Thanks for being here, Michael. And Tony is in the green room. Should we let Tony in? Of course we'll let Tony in, right? There you go, Tony. How are you?
All right. You don't want to be by yourself, right?
I am not very good as a solo podcaster. I'm not a solo streamer. I've seen Gary doing it, and kudos to Gary. He's able to do it. Nobody wants to hear my voice all the way through, so we'll have a little bit of back and forth, me and you, Tony. So yeah, even in all, um, I didn't do it. I didn't do it because of an opinion I did, because he blocked me last night in the middle of a conversation where he was mad. I apologized to the host and not him. He can have an opinion, but it's gone. Yeah. All right. As always, I do think that our chat room, and I do think that our moderators are very fair and good people. So let's just keep going. We actually do like your voice, said Mr. Lowy. Nobody could like this voice. Tony, nobody could like this voice, right? But you might not like the voice, or I don't like the voice, but I believe we do speak some common sense here,
But
Tony.
are you like me, Ray, and like you hear your voice yourself,
Yeah.
then you hear it recorded and it's totally fucking different?
Well, no, it's just that like I seem to sometimes I get caught up on my own words. I I just prefer the interaction. So Stephen said, "Okay, I felt that I was the only one that felt that corruption was a huge possibility. Welcome to the club." Indeed.
Oh, but you guys are off your rockers.
Uh, the
Uh,
significance of the ball behind me, I mean, it's an Arsenal football, so a little bit of decoration doesn't go amiss, but it was also a gift, so it's on display here. So listen, how can people compare the 1889 season to 2003-04? Just give respect to both teams who achieved such a great achievement. Exactly, Brandy. They achieved that feat in their own era and amongst their own peers. Preston North End, I'm sure they met the newspapers when they completed a full season unbeaten. So, invincibles. Arsenal, we're the only team in the top flight, Tony, that have achieved that
maybe Preston was like Man City and just
back
wrote
in the
out
day.
checks.
Yeah.
Wrote out checks.
Could have had 115 charges against them. Well, I said it. I said it. I didn't do it because of an opinion I did. Okay. What do you think about Saka playing, Tony? I mean, did you hear me offering? I think it's a very valid thing that the club likes to keep their players finely tuned. So Saka
I,
getting a little bit of a
I,
run out is not terrible, right?
I don't think fucking 25 minutes is help him on his fitness that much from missing one game he's played all year. I it, I think it's too big of a gamble to play him in a
Well,
meaningless cup.
the piece
You,
that
you, if you heard me on your show Sunday, you heard me on Gary. The 20 minutes I was on Gary and didn't leave myself during that amount of time. I just didn't want him to travel to begin with.
a lot of talk about Arsenal fans complaining about injuries at the moment, but Pep has just done it in the press conference. Look, yeah, I mean, we
Well,
had legitimate injuries at the weekend, and Liverpool fans going after us now. Go ahead, Tony.
I was gonna go with Liverpool, but I kept seeing all these lists that listed like four injured Liverpool players, but only two Arsenal players.
But that's not reality because we have other injuries as well. It's not just the two that would have been listed. You know
And
how
it's
do you
it's
explain?
it, it's not like we don't have three or four injured left backs somehow.
Yeah. Um, Stephen said, "How do you explain how the officiating has gotten worse and favoring one certain club in particular?"
I just don't think it does. I think it's inconsistency with the referees, inconsistency how the rules are implemented. By now, we were already supposed to have 12, 14 iPhone Pros doing the offsides. It was supposed to be implemented right after the October international break.
Mm-hmm.
Here we are a week and
November.
a half week and a half away from the November fucking break, and it's still not implemented. So now you're at the point you're past the third way. You're headed towards halfway at this point. you can't implement the new fucking rule.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
Stefan
and,
is
and
here.
I and I still wonder if it would have seen that Havertz's foot was over the line or behind the line, because to me it was very close. And you never know, because they take those shots, but you don't know if that's an instant before the ball was kicked, after it was kicked, or right when it was kicked, like it's
Yeah.
supposed to be. So I still don't know how those iPhones are to be implemented. Don't know if it's gonna be worse or not.
Yeah.
To, to me, just go by where the fucking foot is. It's not that hard to determine. Put fucking sensors in the front of the shoes if you have to. I mean,
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
we got all
Uh,
this technology. It shouldn't be hard to do.
yeah. And as I talked about just now, before you came on, the goal against Newcastle given against us, the ball looked clearly over the line to us. There was an offside, there was a handball, there was a foul against Arsenal. Any one of those four things could have been called off, could have called off the goal that was scored against us by Newcastle. Again, West Ham at home, the ball was clearly over the line, but a boot was in the way that could not conclusively decide what happened and overturn the decision on the field. Brownie said football has always been corrupt. People need to do their research into Fashanu, Grabelar, and Seegers in the 90s and the floodlight failures for betting scams in the 2000s. Imagine if we had prime Alexis Sanchez. These are some players Tony likes. Alexis Sanchez for sure. Santi Cazorla, I think that Tony would have liked that player. Maybe a prime Aubameyang when he's scoring, we'd win the league even with Rodri, Kevin De Bruyne,
Yeah,
and
I,
such
I,
on the other side.
I'll go against these, Ray. Sanchez is a cocksucker. You don't leave. You get subbed off. Then guess what happens, Ray?
He left the stadium.
He left the stadium before any of his teammates got
That
back.
was up at Anfield, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And guess what? He had one good season. The cocksucker midfielder
Hey,
that
hey, hey, hey!
captain.
You're gonna get me dinged a lot. Not that I'm what do you call it,
Uh,
monetizing this at all, but you'll
I,
get me YouTube dinged. You
I
know.
thought I thought Thursdays were casual and relaxed, and we could say what we want.
They are, but you don't know who's listening to this. I don't know how old our youngest viewer can be
Uh,
watching
uh,
this.
I'm not like a certain Canadian that will say the C word,
There's corruption in every aspect of life.
but
That's just reality.
but
It's
but
life.
but
There's no
but
great.
but, but going where I was going,
Yeah.
Ozil, Sanchez, only good together. Take them apart, they were crap. He scored. He Sanchez scored 3 goals the next season for United. Ozil collected a check with his bad back every week.
Yep.
I mean, I liked Rosicky. I liked Carzola, but Carzola was hurt every year. He said he wanted to get into
Andy,
coaching with Arsenal. Meanwhile, he's coaching in Spain.
he did have a horrific injury as well, where skin grafts had to be taken from one foot to help um, the situation. Michael
Uh,
said,
are you trying to get to me with foot injuries? Is
"Yeah,
that where you're
I
going?
was. I mean, it
You're
was a foot
thinking
injury, but I do feel some kind of way when I talk about feet, Tony, especially more than one. You know what I mean? Uh, you've got that phantom foot, though, right? You still feel it. You still want to scratch it, right? Does that happen?
no, it's because I have neuropathy. It's constantly the same feeling on both legs. So since I still have most my calf, if I move my calf, then I can feel it
Toes.
feels. Toes are. I mean, I can feel they're there, but I can't like feel like wiggling of certain toes.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I have 5 toes. The only thing I don't really feel is the ankle. Everything else feels like it's there. That's why.
Listen,
That's why I've taken a
you're a
tumble out of
survivor.
bed, taking a
You're a damn cockroach. That's what you are. You're a survivor, Tony.
They keep trying to kill me, Ray, but
They
they
keep trying to
haven't.
kill you.
They
Maybe
haven't
Arsenal
figured
will do
out
it to
how.
you in the end, Tony. Maybe Arsenal in the Premier League will do it to you in the end. You know what I mean? Like all of us fans, it's like why do we do this thing? Why do we watch sports? Why to
I
feel
might. I might start blaming Arsenal for all my autoimmune diseases, since a lot of those are triggered by stress.
yeah. Michael said, I can't get over other fans targeting Arsenal at the moment. What's it all about? We are number one. Gillett's ATM. What's it all about? Villains. We're number one villains. Okay. Brownie, you aren't on about football clubs, are you? Says Stefan. Um, all right.
Uh,
PGMOL. Has anything to do with it? Will be pointless if it's PGMOL. Believe you me, I'm missing the championship. At least,
uh, uh,
at least I know the crap decisions in that league are simply down to incompetence. It's tough when you're a team like Ipswich, right? You get into the Premier League and it's tough to exist in the Premier League. You have to deal with Premier League referees, and then you go down into the championship, but you do know the decisions will be maybe better. You know what I mean? Disgraceful language, Tony.
can we ask Brownie what he thinks of Aubameyang and
Um,
Arsenal
okay,
and
well, you
Arsenal?
just asked him there. Let Tony speak. Give Tony the mic. There's always a campaign to let Tony speak. Give me Sanchez and Santi any day, but not Aubameyang, who was a cancer to the club along with Ozil.
Like
Um,
Sanchez was.
I mean, that is disingenuous to say. I know what you're saying. They were a tandem together, Ozil and Sanchez. They brought the best out of each other, but Sanchez was a pretty decent player in his own right. Uh, he
It doesn't matter if he's a decent player, right? If
he
you're
played
not a
with
good.
Messi, played
He
with
was
Messi and Pedro at
he,
Barca.
he was not a good teammate at Arsenal. You don't hit the shower and leave before anybody else gets there.
Yeah, yeah, that's not right. But Sanchez was a beast at all clubs minus United. Okay, I think we should get towards the talking about the Carabao Cup, right? So last night, Tony, let me have this out. It was we had a goal from a fallen star. Let me let me see if you can figure out which ones they are, right? We had a goal from a fallen star, we had a goal from an existing star, and we had a goal from a rising star. Pick that out.
One is not a rising star because Arteta doesn't play him in the league, which he should have did when with our captain out, because he would have fit right in that spot. But instead, Nweri doesn't get to play, and the current star would be, who was it? Was it Saka that scored? I can't remember now.
Kai Havertz.
He's not a star.
Kai is the current and existing star because I'll tell you what, Tony, at Chelsea, Kai Havertz would not have scored that goal. At
And
Arsenal, a season in with Arsenal, that was a striker's goal, was it not? Headed into the
I,
net.
I'm still not sure if he would be playing striker if a certain biblical figure didn't get hurt.
You mean Jesus?
Yep.
Yeah, listen, Jesus has always been Gabriel Jesus has always been Gabriel Jesus. He's always scored 8 to 10 goals for City. He's been a very industrious player. He leads and he presses from the front, but he misses a lot of chances, Tony.
He,
And Gabriel
he,
Jesus scored
he,
yesterday his first goal in 25 games.
he's not a striker.
Not a striker.
He's a winger.
Tony's got the magic stick, according to the Cougars at bingo. There you go. All right. Well, listen, what did you think of the lineup, Tony, last night? We went with Tommy Setford in goal from Ajax, Timber, White, Kiwior, Zinchenko, Marino, Jorginho, Nwaneri, Sterling, Martinelli, and Jesus.
Uh, still with Martinelli, White, those guys, you probably want them taking a break. Havertz, you really don't want him playing. I want to play Saka either.
Well, listen, Tony, let me tell you this. We're into a quarterfinal now. We needed to win this game yesterday. So you need to put a side out that's going to be able to score you goals. And we did that. I thought we mixed the team up quite effectively. I think there was about 6 changes. No, there was about 8 changes from Sunday. The only ones staying in were Ben White, Timber, Mourinho, and Martinelli. So we made 7 changes to the team. And we had a pretty decent performance with Ethan Nwaneri being bright for the whole game, and scored a lovely curl shot into the top corner. You just knew that was goal the moment it left his boot. Right, it was shaped inside. Are we not lucky, Tony? We should be so happy we got Bukayo Saka at our club, and now we have another player coming through in Ethan Nwaneri, one of Tony's academy kids.
Yeah, one of my academy kids that actually got into the lineup somehow instead of one of the academy kids that never made the lineup except for one time, like Charlie Coutinho, with Arsenal legend saying he was the best athlete to ever walk through hell end, and he never got a chance with Arsenal, but that's a different story.
Little question here from Michael. It's good. Fire in the questions, people. Your player this season so far. Do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first?
I think with consensus would probably be Saka. Really, the only other argument you could make would be Havertz or Raya.
There you go. I would, definitely. I was going to say David Raya, so I'm happy you picked Bukayo Saka because both cases are very valid. We've relied on Bukayo Saka for a lot of the good things that have happened this season, and I think we've dropped a few points along the way on the league. We're 3 or 4 points away from where we should be really at this point in the season, and we've got a long way to go now till Christmas, till a halfway stage. We actually have to prove that we are worthy title chasers. You know what I mean? We have to get back into position behind Liverpool and behind City. We're going to be chasing them. But for me, the player of the season so far will be David Raya, because coming back from these summer tournaments, we struggled a little bit at the back, and we needed to rely on our forwards to catch us some goals, but we also needed to rely on David Raya to keep some goals out. Think about the most recent one, Dynamo Zagreb, or no, was it Zagreb we played recently, and the save that he had right at the end of the game. So, and that was a 1-0 lead we had throughout the game, and you and I know how important it is to stay in position for this Champions League. We know we can finish in the top 24, whatever it is, and be in a knockout stage, but we really want to get into position to be in that top 8 and save ourselves a little bit of a 2-game playoff. You know what I mean?
We need goals to do that, Ray.
We need goals to do that. Listen, I know what you're saying. The initial stages, goals will separate. When you're sitting on 7 points, 3 or 4 teams sitting on 7 points, goal difference will be vital. But I think after 7 or 8 games, which this Champions League or Super League, let's say, demands. It will separate out. The points will separate out. Maybe goal difference will be less vital, less important. Michael said the tide seems to have turned on Jesus. He looks lost. Yeah, listen, he definitely. If you're Gabriel Jesus and you're playing Preston, and you know you're not going to get a game like this until maybe the FA Cup comes along, the early stage of the FA Cup, where you might draw a minnow, you're going to tell yourself, I really need to score against Preston North End. All respect to Preston North End, no disrespect, but they are a league or two below us.
What did you think of the lineup, Ray? Because there's one player in there Ray said would never play again this season.
Zinchenko, right?
Yep.
So no, I said. Well, I didn't say he wouldn't play. I said we might see him in midfield at some point. Actually selected in midfield. And as Stan said, he's not allowed. He doesn't have the credentials. When you take your card and press it against the Emirates gate for to know where you're going to play, Zinchenko is banned from midfield, the midfield starting position.
Does Robert Perez operate that?
He has the key card, yeah, for life. He's got a golden one, Tony. He was part of that invincible team. He's got a golden one, just like the golden Premier League trophy. The last one, they won't let us win it again, Tony, because ours is golden. And we haven't won a Premier League since. And that's something that rival fans throw back in our face. It's been 20 years. I can't even remember I remember when Arsenal won it last, but it would be so great to win it again this season. Right, John, Jesus is a midfielder instead of playing Havertz in midfield. Should have been Jesus playing there last season. He's a striker who can strike. Yeah, but I don't think he could do midfield as well as Havertz. Kiwior really did have a good game. I'm going to give him some props. I was irritated, as you know, Tony, with Kiwior at Bournemouth. But I think here's the value. Here's the value of giving players some time to play, Tony.
You're not gonna blame Rhea for that pass to him. Always playing out of the back sometimes.
No. Kiwior was the one who played the ball back. It was a back pass. And you know what a back pass should be? A back pass should always go to the goalkeeper. And it should always be firm as well.
I'm still in his camp, right? He played the majority of last year.
Right.
Who had the best defense of the Premier League last year, right?
We did.
So why did we need to go spend nearly 50 million
on Calafiori? I don't know.
He looks like fucking Zinchenko. You see him all up in attack.
No.
Then on defense, you see Gabriel's on the island again.
No. No, he's a good player. I like Calafiori, but yeah, I would have liked to have a striker, a forward of some sort. Rod John, we are going to take that question a little bit later about why are rivals saying we need to win the Carabao Cup. We'll talk about that in a minute, Tony. I do think Wembley is a second home, so I wouldn't be afraid of LFC at Wembley for sure. Anyone know where Eddie Nketiah went? Well, we know he went to Crystal Palace, and we know that we drew Crystal Palace, Tony. So Eddie's coming back in the quarters, and every Arsenal fan is like going through the permutations of what might happen. What if Eddie scores against us at the Emirates for Crystal Palace? That won't happen, though. They won't dump us out there. Crystal Palace are a good team. We're going to play them in the middle of December in this quarterfinal. But the quarterfinal is exactly that, a quarterfinal that we have to win. And we'll come back to that question, Red John, about needing to win this trophy. When he came on 2 years ago against Brentford, I thought Arteta was taking the piss, but Nwaneri looks genuinely like the real deal. So let's linger on this one a little bit. Ethan Nwaneri, what a player, Tony. We have Bukayo Saka, we have Martinelli. We've got some world class players in our team. Now
I,
we actually see
I,
these kids. These two kids, Tony, are coming through, and they're better than everything else that's sitting on the bench.
and I'll disagree on Martinelli being world class. I think he's
Mm-hmm.
plateaued.
Yeah, fair. Saliba, David Raya, Odegaard,
Yeah,
Saka.
and I'm still not. I'm not crazy, Ray, on saying if we got 50 million for him, you might wave him out the window.
Martinelli,
Yep.
not 50.
Okay.
70.
He's not
70.
that good.
70
He's
would
not.
be, I'd start to loosen my grip on Martinelli's wrist in that case, if it was 70 million. Yeah, but Ethan Nwaneri came on at the age of 15 years old in 2022, September of 2022, um,
For about 3 minutes for
for about three
publicity.
minutes in injury
For
time
for publicity or whatever reason Arteta done.
to
Sorry about that.
maybe to tell the kid, you know, you have a future in this
Yeah,
team.
but he didn't play him any last year, right?
He played him a little bit. He came on against West Ham for about 15 minutes. He played him a little bit. Look, I agree with you. I think it's time to play the kid. Odegaard's been injured now. We've
Uh,
dropped
uh,
some points. We've dropped some points in the league. It's time.
instead of playing Saka in every cup game we had last year, Nwaneri could have came on.
We're going to be in a situation at Newcastle where, as I said before you came on, it's a must-win game. Do you think that Newcastle is a must-win game now?
Uh,
We
I
dropped
hate
5 points.
I hate to be like Gary, but I kind of think everything's a must win from this point on because
I
we
agree.
can we because
Got
and
no margin for error.
I know you gave praise to Raya, but Raya made a mistake in Spain, carried on into our game that we lost. I just he,
You're
he,
still
he,
blaming
he,
David Raya now.
he
I
was
won't have it.
very poor in that game.
Ray, have you seen Fabrizio's tweet? Tavares, our old buddy Tavares is killing it, Lazio. 8 assists in 8 games. Lazio's president said he wouldn't even sell Tavares for 80 million. Yeah.
Well,
I get
I'll just spend a second on him. I don't understand why Arteta never went back to him. He wants those attacking fullbacks. So why doesn't he meet that
he
condition?
was a little bit haphazard in his thinking. He was not a balanced player in the way that he approached the game. He was a maverick. He is and he was a maverick left back. The kind of player who will bomb forward but then make a silly back pass against Liverpool up at Anfield.
And he had the goals and assists when he was playing in France.
Yeah.
He has that. I mean, to me, it's still the manager. I mean, during a 90-minute game, Arteta could have said, "Hey, you need to stay back a little bit," because that's the difference of all those players. Because
Wow.
Timber generally stops at the halfway line.
Yep. Yep.
And
And we remember Mikel Arteta shouting at Tavares up at Newcastle. Do you want to be in the Champions League in 2022? Do you want to be in the Champions League? Making kind of an example out of Tavares, knowing he was probably not long for Arsenal's dressing room. 0 goals in 6 Premier League games for Eddie at Palace so far. He really has pants. I think he scored a cup game, but no Premier League goals. It's hard to get back to the top when you're playing against 12 men every game. Exactly. And so they're going to keep us. They're probably going to try to keep us 4 or 5 points adrift of the leaders. It's pretty hard to
Don't buy
follow.
into it, Ray. I I leave Ray alone for one Sunday with Stan. Then the next time he's on, Ray's magically thinks that the Premier League
Well,
is.
here's what happened to me on Sunday. I said to myself, and I tweeted about this, Tony. I was like, okay, I respected Anthony Taylor and Michael Oliver as referees. Probably the best of a bad bunch, right? I thought they were the best of a bad bunch, Michael Oliver and Anthony Taylor. And I was going to say, I'm going to watch your performance, Anthony Taylor, and if I have any cause to believe that you're corrupt, that's it for me. You know, I'm all in on this. And so it happened around the 55th minute of that game. And I think we had 6 minutes of added time. So that's 40 minutes of Anthony Taylor allowing Liverpool to be marginally over physical, which a lot of referees would call, but clear decisions for Arsenal being denied as well. And part of that was the goal as well. Part of that was the goal. Uh, it used to be where players could jump over Arsenal players, win a header, and it be allowed. Well, Jakob Kiwior was not allowed to do that on Zaboslai. So for me, Anthony Taylor was definitely leaning towards Liverpool in that one. Um, Something ridiculously cheap. Italian league is rubbish. I think there's something to that. The Italian league, these leagues might be a bit lower as well. So they're getting for steal. They're getting them for a steal. Unfortunately, has Sterling replaced Jesus? Uh, I think they're pretty even. I couldn't pick between them now, Tony. Could you? Between Sterling and Jesus.
Neither one's good enough to be starting for Arsenal. So
Agreed. As a substitute, which one are you going to first? Both of them are sitting on the bench. Who are you looking at?
Nwaneri.
He's starting, Tony. He's starting. You're looking past. So you're the manager. And you're looking at the bench, and the players are like, "Yeah, please pick me, please." You overlook Sterling. Not you, Raheem. Not you, Gabby. No, you can stay. You can stay there, Gabby. Ethan, you're up. You know
Yep.
what I mean? Heard Eddie's going to Cardiff in January. He's not good enough to start for us, as Brownie. See, even Cardiff hasn't found his level. We need to drop Zinchenko off back in Ukraine. They need him more than we do. Yeah. Holding their own, though. The Ukrainians are holding their own out there. I knew I would get a response from Stefan. Zinchenko can rally the troops. Tony, Calistory, yeah.
Can you read this, Ray? Well, the BBC.
Ukrainians on the front line tell the BBC their country's very survival in the hands of the American voters. Yeah. So now, this is a football channel, Tony. Calafiori was hired to be Arteta's personal chef. He likes spaghetti to be made by an Italian. Gyökeres, here we go. Gyökeres is rumored to be following Almiron to United. Okay, quick word, Tony.
I
Ten Hag.
hate.
Tony Ten Hag. What's going on?
Can I say I hate spaghetti? You
Yeah.
have to either have linguine or
I
you
had it
gotta
tonight.
have
I had
fettuccine.
spaghetti. I had spaghetti and meatballs tonight.
You have to have fettuccine or linguine. You can't
Yeah.
have these wimpy little thin noodles. Come on.
Wimpy little noodles. What was the
Yeah.
last thing here we had?
And
Yeah.
you You were
Talk to me
asking.
about Manchester United real quick. Talk to me about Manchester United.
There's a shithole torn between two ownership groups.
Right. Anything else? Will Almiron turn it around?
I'm still disappointed that
Ten Hag?
no, not a Ten Hag. I'll actually go back to Fergie. I think they should have kept him,
He
paying
had to
him and
retire.
kept him.
He was aging. He was retiring. He was done with the game. Couldn't have
I
stayed with
don't.
Fergie.
Come on, Ray. We've had members of a board die and we still haven't replaced them. We're like
You know
two
the
members
difference.
short.
A big difference here. Alec Ferguson used up his last big transfer to get himself one more title, and I think Jurgen Klopp sacrificed a lot in order to to give Arnie Slot a decent squad for Liverpool. So that's kind
That
of a
that
difference
that,
between the
that
two.
that's why I'm really surprised that Klopp took the job that he did. I figured he would just still be resting because he did a lot to turn them back around in the season.
Mm-hmm.
They were pretty good last season compared to
Well,
what they
will he
were
turn
this
that
season.
dressing room? Will he turn that dressing room around a little bit like Chelsea have done? You know, Maresca.
Maybe.
Mateta is very capable of scoring. Eze is capable of scoring. Maybe even Eddie. Eddie's capable of scoring in the end. All right, I'll come back to that question in a little bit, Red John. Isak is on form, guys. We could be in trouble against Newcastle. Okay, here's the thing. I think Newcastle will be a difficult game. I think we have to go there and, man up and be strong and physical to meet what they're going to do. So I think we'll put a team out like Declan Rice and Mourinho in midfield. We'll have, I don't know what the status is on Gabriel Magalhaes. We'll have Saliba, Kiwior, Timber, White, and then Saka, Havertz. I really hope we'll go with Nwaneri, but I think we'll see Trossard coming back in and Martinelli down the left. But here's the thing: Isak scored against Chelsea yesterday because
Well,
Chelsea played out from the back and got caught. It was basically a tap in at the end of the day.
why can't Nwaneri play in the midfield and Mourinho stay on the bench?
Yeah, I can. He can. Tough game versus the Magpies. We drop points to Newcastle. The title is done. Listen, if we draw and they win, Liverpool have a replay almost against Brighton at home at Anfield. They play they turn around and play Brighton again from the Carabao Cup to the league. If they get 3 points, they're 7 points, 6 points ahead of us. It'll be a long way back if we're 6 and 7 points behind
Uh,
um,
it's
City.
it,
So that's
it
in the
it's
context.
it's
It's in the
it's a be it's a
go ahead.
be over. It's a be over unless we go get a world class winger or striker.
It's in the context of losing a game and then drawing a game. It's imperative and important that we get 3 points, make it 4 out of 9 in the last 3 games. Way too early to say title is done, but I don't see City losing too many matches. I agree with you. I don't see City losing too many matches, but at the same time, they have a very, very slight chink in their armor in the form of the Ballon d'Or winner, um, Rodri. And yes, the midfielder did win the Ballon d'Or, and Real Madrid were pissed about it. They didn't even turn up. But yeah, you're right. The City will have enough for most teams. They might just drop enough points to be in the high 80s at the end of the
I
season.
I agree with Real Madrid. He, Junior got screwed out of.
You mean Vinicius?
Yep.
Junior, he got screwed out. Okay, got screwed out. Ray, did you see that pistol Peter Risdale? Yeah, I remember him from Leeds. Changed the name of the horrendous Carling Lager to Invincibles.
I, I mean,
He, he probably shifted
he,
some of that stock as well, Brownie, just on the name itself,
I,
Invincible.
I mean, you seen Junior last week. They were down 2-0 at halftime. He gets a hat trick in the second half by excellent strikes.
Yeah. Uh-huh. I think this is one of the best comments in terms of the use of Nwaneri. He should be used for 15 and 20-minute cameos in the Premier League. And because
Nope.
he's still a young player, 17 and a half. He won't be 18 till March. Nwaneri,
Can we play the prices right? I'll pretend the guy's going over the mountain. 20 to 30 minutes is what he should be coming on for.
that's
But
what I said.
no, you
15 to
said
20.
yes.
So my high end was your low end. 20. You said 20 and I said 20.
Yeah, but 15's under it.
Tony, you're getting some airtime tonight.
About time.
You're getting, like, if this is a chess game where you stop the clock, you're probably going to hit 20, 25 minutes of ice time tonight.
Yeah, I'm gonna be like it was the last few weeks when just Gary and Stan took up the race. Well, this is going back to the last time, right?
Um,
3 weeks ago when I had you by myself.
Nwaneri is shaping up well, but he needs to play minutes
I
near the end of every Premier
uh,
League game. Are you going to
I
leave now? Between the
well,
now and the end of January to see how he goes. Then we can think about starting him in Premier League games. Go ahead.
nope. with Odegaard out, he should have got the starts,
I agree with
especially
you. I kind of
especially
agree with you. Yeah.
especially in the 4-4-2 formation that we've been playing.
Stan's like, oh, somebody said 4-4-2. I can't believe it. Somebody is
Stanza,
talking about what I said.
the
Um,
stanza pop up now.
yeah.
I just stopped talking about it because I gave up hope in it.
I think you're right, Tony. When Odegaard is out, this was the time and is the time. Odegaard's not available. Allow Nwaneri to take that bandwidth, to take that space where you're not
I,
playing. And then
I,
Odegaard comes, he's going to need a few weeks of rhythm. And Nwaneri can fill in those positions as well.
I'm disappointed when I came to Stan. I gave him on Sunday the big platter that was the Liverpool tablet that showed us in the 4-4-1-1.
And he didn't bite. So you're saying
Yep, formation that Arsenal invented.
Crystal Palace and Fulham are buying Arsenal players, shows
It,
Beyond London. That's the way the Premier League is going, though. The only place where you're going to get some cash is actually within the Premier League. So the top teams are casting off the players they don't really want. They're casting them into the middle of the Premier League and the lower reaches of the Premier League, where they still have some cash to afford Eddie Nketiah wages. Arsenal couldn't own Millwall, but that's another day.
isn't it crazy, Ray, that Arsenal has invented two formations?
What?
Said Arsenal has invented two formations.
A minute too?
What? I said
Arsenal
invented.
invented.
Invented two formations.
Yeah, the W
W and the 4-4-1-1.
for Chapman. Herbert Chapman. Tony might have to show his cougar bringing magic skill to Jesus and Sterling and wave it around like a wand and just take them away, wander them away from Arsenal. put them on a slow boat to Texas, and let them
So,
go to the
so,
Texas.
so, so Ray, we fast forward to the end of the season. What are you gonna do if Arteta takes the stupid choice and signs Sterling?
Uh if Sterling shows me nothing, if he shows me the same levels as Gary
Yeah,
says, the
that
same
he has
levels
so far.
as he has so far, I'm not going to be happy because you're wasting a position for a Nico Williams type of signing, you know.
So you're writing Uncle
And
Artie
when
as
Brian and I was talking about Brian Mbeumo in July. Remember, I mentioned him to you? July from Brentford. He's tearing it up now in the Premier League. He has been tearing it up for a while. And
uh,
Brentford say 50 million, you can have him.
uh,
He could
uh,
be that January signing.
you did mention our next opponents in the League Cup, but you failed to mention you copied me in the upset challenge and copied me and went with the club from Selhurst Park.
Yes, I followed your lead. Do you want to know? Do you want to see what it did to me? Do you want to see how it boosted me up, Tony? You
Yep,
want to see the updated scores?
yep.
11 points. 11 points can go a long way right there. You're in third
Can,
place now.
can I get credit though, Ray? Because there's 2 weeks I didn't pick, and 1 week I ended up looking at the wrong one after I already told you. I picked three upsets, Ray. Three upsets I was to choose from. Minimum of
Yes,
five points there. So that
you
gets me in
were.
second.
You were going to. The key part of that is you were going to. So what's important is you actually have to pick something. You know what I mean? But
I looked at the wrong year. I went up too far and looked at the wrong
we
week.
went
So
for we went for Crystal Palace to beat Tottenham, and you know what? That's always a pretty decent bet. Any team versus Tottenham. Um,
yeah.
although in this Carabao Cup, Tony, were you surprised about Man City and Aston Villa? Maybe not so much Aston Villa, right? Because Crystal Palace, we have Crystal Palace next. Crystal Palace, we must recognize, can be a dangerous team, and we're going to have to play well in mid-December to beat them. But Aston Villa falling at Villa Park to Crystal Palace, a little bit of a shock. And Man City, well, Man City always lose there except for when they needed to win last May. Fuckers. You
Packers?
know.
Did
Fuckers.
you say
Fuckers.
Packers?
Fuckers. We all have human son. Do you believe that he tried to score there or he hit it straight at the keeper
Uh,
when Tottenham played City back in May? You know? Conspiracies, conspiracies. Okay.
Stan's getting to you, right?
Also, Fergie was director, so he needed to be sacked as he couldn't be his own boss if he were to become manager. Tony digs up Bill Shankly to reappoint him as Liverpool boss. There you go. It'll be like a weekend with Shankly, a weekend at Bernie's, weekend with Shankly. Put out the worst Liverpool team you ever could. You know what I mean? Put Jamie Carragher out there. I think Carragher might turn out to be a decent manager. Rooney bouncing around clubs like Jermaine Defoe, the mercenary. Rod Nodes was the owner of Crystal Palace, a manager at Brentford previously. It had been done before. Okay.
I don't know how these clubs keep hiring Rooney.
So, what's your thoughts on City losing to Tottenham?
It's not that big of a surprise. I think Tottenham is in a position where they're kind of having to play for cups because it does. I don't
Yeah.
think they think they're finishing the top four.
No, they can't finish. I don't think they can finish in top four. I've picked Chelsea to be in that fourth place to join Liverpool, City, and Arsenal at the top. See what I did there? Arsenal number one, City second, Liverpool third, Chelsea fourth. That's my
He,
predictions.
I think you might have the first three inverted. For a club
Right.
that plays inverted, I hate the term inverted
You don't
fullback.
like that word, yeah.
I don't care. There's still wing backs because they're coming from the fullback position into the attack. It doesn't matter if you're a little to the left or a little to the right. You're headed towards the same place.
Heading towards the same place. Maybe you do it inadvertently. I remember this Dorking Wanderers guy. Um, the owner got them relegated. They were in that Wrexham documentary as well. Wrexham, we could see Wrexham in the Premier League in the next 5 years. Um,
You have to be careful when you say Wrexham.
why?
Eh, you might get
Wrexham.
a yeah, you might get a rectum in there.
Don't call it Rectum. Rectum. We'll call them that if they ever rival us in a cup game or in the Premier League.
Rect.
Rectum FC have been promoted to the Premier League.
Yeah, are you sure it's not going to be rectum AC anal canal?
Oh, Tony, it was already bad enough, wasn't it? Next time you watch it, Stefan, keep an eye out for me in a footy.
You aim
There
for
we
the
go.
top rank. No low balls for Tony.
This is like Gary's equivalent of a shoot for the stars and you might hit the moon.
Yeah.
Shoot for the rectum and you might hit the moon. City had their new Brazilian go off. Do we know if he's injured or hurt? Savinho. Yeah, listen, injuries are becoming a part and parcel of this season.
In the 1970s in the U.S., if you were aiming for a moon, you might hit the rectum because mooning was a very common thing.
Uh,
Public nudity.
all right, let's go to this third comment that I had from Red John back there. And listen, I hope everybody's taking advantage in the UK of the extra hour. We're an hour earlier just for 1 week because of the time difference. Okay, here, let's put this one up, Tony. Why are rivals saying we Arsenal need to win the Carabao Cup? Aren't LFC the favourites since they're the title holders of the Carabao? Just because you're title holders does not mean you're favourites. You can hold the title one season and not be the same team as you were.
Ah,
So, Tony,
uh,
with City out of this, I mean, I don't know what the bookies have priced it out at. I don't know if you have looked at that either. Who's the favourites for the Carabao Cup?
I have no idea who the bookies are putting their money on.
Well, who would Tony
But
put his money on, honestly? And you can say another team, I won't hold it against you. Like, outside of Arsenal, who's got the best chance to win this Carabao Cup? Let's say Arsenal's not involved, right? So you got Crystal Palace, Tottenham, Man United, Newcastle, Brentford, Southampton, and Liverpool.
Liverpool or
The dangers.
yeah,
You don't know what Man United are. Man United could be a basket case. They are a basket case club. But under Van Nistelrooy, they might have what you call a new manager or caretaker bounce, for a game or two. Tottenham could be anything. Tottenham play too open. I actually feel in that tie, Man United are going to go to Tottenham to the toilet bowl. And I think Man United might flush the toilet bowl there and win. What do you think?
hmm. So it might come out of a rectum into the toilet bowl.
I better watch out, Arsenal. You're only 4 miles away down the Seven Sisters Road. But to answer Red John's question, rivals are saying we need to win the Carabao Cup because, listen, let's have it right. And I've been pretty much apologist or a supporter of Arteta. You know, not so much an apologist, but a supporter, and understanding we are on a journey, we are on a process, we are on a project. Well, now the project needs to see fruition after 4 years. The last FA Cup was in
I
2020. It's been 4 years. There'll be 5 years in the spring, and it's time to add some silverware. Tony, we have world class players in our team, and it's time to realize our potential.
I just don't know how many clubs really care about the League Cup now.
When you
I
get into
mean,
the quarterfinals, I think you start to care about it a little bit. You know,
and it still cost Liverpool a title.
they had the injuries. They had the injuries last season as well.
No,
You know,
the year before.
yeah, you could say it cost Liverpool the title every season they went up against Man City, except for one. Okay,
Yeah,
let's.
but yeah, but City were 10 points ahead, so Liverpool's like, oh, we're to focus on the League Cup. And guess what happened? Shitty went shitty, and Liverpool was right behind them. And if they didn't put the extra energy into the League Cup, they would have had two titles this decade instead of one.
Yeah, I think Jurgen Klopp was one of those managers he recognized if you weren't going to be able to beat City in the league, you better go and grab a few cups and have some success in that respect. Continue to be in the top four, continue to get into the Champions League, but also continue to get the finals and pick up a Carabao Cup twice. I think they won it twice,
Yeah.
and also pick up an FA Cup one time. You know what I mean? Liverpool Arsenal in the final. That would be a nice one. I think it's going to be a contested. This Carabao Cup is going to be keenly contested between the top teams. Arsenal should get through against Crystal Palace. I think Man United get through against Tottenham, Newcastle, and Brentford. I wouldn't count Brentford out of that. And usually, Tony, you'll get one of these lower, less fancied teams get through to a
Yeah.
semi-final. That could be Brentford or Southampton. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah, and it's even more common in the FA Cup.
yes, always in the FA Cup. And I think it happens a lot because in the Champions League, you have a team like Inter Milan or Dortmund, a lesser fancy club, getting to the final as well. So in Europe, it's going to be an interesting season, Tony, because you know what? We do need to win a cup. We do need to win a domestic cup. But sometimes domestic cups mess with your team a little bit after March because you won a trophy. You can't really celebrate that trophy because if you start celebrating it, you lose focus in March and April and May when
Uh,
the nitty gritty
so,
comes in.
so what happens if we win the League Cup and finish third, right?
So, like I've said for Man United, that is a successful season. Do you know what I mean? It is a successful season. I've said it for United. I've said it for Liverpool. When you win a trophy and you get into the top four and get into Europe again, you rubber stamp your European football for another season. That's a successful season. Will I want more? Of course, I'd want more. You know what I mean? But again, we'll have to talk about January, and we'd have to go and get a player in January to be able to sustain through four competitions. Uh, Red John says, but did you forget how LFC won the Carabao using all their kids versus Man United? They had like 6 injuries or something when they won it. And that's the thing. You're going to need to lean on all parts of your squad. If you're going to be in the Champions League and the Premier League, you need the best parts of your squad to be playing the majority of those games. But in the domestic cups, you need the best part of your peripheral players, your squad players, to be performing and scoring
just
goals.
just
Somebody
just
like a Cody Gakpo or a Gabriel Jesus or Nwaneri as well.
or just blast back to the under 17 Liverpool team that beat Arsenal 5-5 after spot kicks. What,
Uh,
why
Good
did,
morning, Tiger and Gunnar. I hope you're doing well on a Friday morning, sir.
why have you people from the UK stop saying spot kick and say penalty kicks? They're not penalty kicks.
There's spot kicks. You put them on the spot, you kick them.
Yep.
The highest attendance for a football game in the new Wembley is still Portsmouth, Cardiff, 2008. Think of all the far bigger teams who have been to Wembley. I think though Brownie Wembley gets sold out.
So I I think Brownie's wrong there.
Where's Gary? It's like
I I I
it's like
think I think I think Brownie's wrong there. I think it would be AEW wrestling would have the biggest attendance at Wembley.
yeah. Listen, Gary's not here. Stan is going to take a little bit of a sabbatical. He's stepping away from at least this podcast for a few weeks. Always welcome back, Stan. Stan knows that as well, so um, he'll come back when he's ready. Mad to think Portsmouth and Cardiff were in the cup final, but fair play. Yeah, I don't know. Where's Paul Pott? Who is Paul Pott anyway, Tony? Um, Lawrence hasn't made an appearance in a while. Hope he's doing well. Well, last time we talked to Lawrence, it was funnily enough about a Carabao Cup, and it was about Ten Hag. So how did that work out? Ten Hag being successful, but getting sacked, and Ten Hag winning an FA Cup and a Carabao Cup, and really enjoyed. Tony enjoyed the bands on that podcast back then. So. Um, Lawrence, I think he's trying to get on some other podcasts now. I think he's like he reached out to Dan Potts. I think.
Oh,
I said
and
football. Huh?
did he say football game?
He said football.
I don't think he said football game. Did he?
I don't know. I haven't seen Lawrence. Hope he's Listen, Lawrence is doing well. He's just sort of figured out that the way he thinks about Arsenal doesn't align with the way we think about Arsenal. I think that's the most diplomatic way of saying it, right, Tony?
Yeah.
He
I
doesn't.
was I was the closest one he was leaning to.
RT, and listen, everybody's got an opinion here, right? And I welcome everybody's opinion, and you can come on
He,
here and have an opinion.
he,
It's your choice if you don't want to come on here. It was Lawrence's choice, and I just think he felt that the tea from this channel was a little bit weak. The tea bag, he didn't leave the tea bag in long enough. He likes his tea strong, Tony. And
Everybody likes a little teabagging, right?
Arteta needs to sort out our priorities for the season. If the injuries
Yeah.
persist, then he should concentrate on top four and a domestic cup. If we stay healthy for the next 60 days, and listen, then go for it. And not only health, but the players coming back from injury as well. Mr. Bungle's in the chat. I see that.
I,
Morning,
I
Mr.
think
Bungle.
I think he's gonna end up rushing players back like Odegaard. I think he's gonna put him in there too quick.
So Paul Posh, I don't know who you are. You're new to this channel. I have a sneaking suspicion you might be a wee man in disguise, right?
that, that was my favorite part about Gary's first trip to London was Ray's description of Tom from what Gary filled him in on.
Okay.
You you
Uh,
you you, you called him a leprechaun, right?
I he's been called worse, I'm sure. And Tom and I are mates. Okay, so stop stirring the pot there. Stop stirring the pot of gold. Lawrence was right though. Ten Hag is more successful than Arsenal. The only season Ten Hag is sacked and Arteta isn't is because Arteta's makes Arsenal's owners money by getting top four. There is a discussion here, Tom or Paul, whatever your name is. The discussion is: do you really want to be a very poor team in the league and not have any aspirations to win a Premier League? But you can go ahead and win a domestic cup here and there. And
Do,
yes,
do, do, do,
that's
do, do you
okay.
know do you know what we need to get Pol Pot?
He needs to get off the pot.
No,
Paul
no,
Pot needs to get off
he
the pot.
he needs one of those squatty potties that everybody was buying that you put your feet on when you have to go number two. That it
The
would
one
have to
that
be
the
an
one
X.
that you the one that you put under the bed if you need to go to have a wee, right?
No,
So
but
listen,
but
the discussion is: do you want to be a crap club that can't win a Premier League, but you might win a Carabao Cup, or do you want to be a club that has aspirations to win the Premier League? Because listen, as
what
Arsenal
what
fans,
what
we've been there.
why did we get rid of Wenger? It was to win titles.
Premier League. Yep. Move on. To move on, indeed. So yes, listen, BX Skinner. Paul Pot is a stand-up guy. How far can he stand up, though? That's the question.
And the question is, does he have stilts?
Tom, remember this. It wasn't just me going after you tonight. Tony. Tony smells blood in the water. Paul Pot in the house. Tony better hide his glasses. You're a bad man, Tony. Isn't that what Gary calls you? A bad man?
Yeah,
Apparently, Paul is
but
living. What is this
but
Cambodia? What's the Cambodia link?
uh, Paul Pot was from Cambodia.
Okay. Is he a
Uh,
famous person?
he's famous if you want to consider the biggest genocide ever in the world.
Oh,
He
nice.
he said
So why?
7 million Cambodians went bye bye from Pol Pot.
Right. So I mean, in light of that, maybe consider
Uh,
changing
uh,
the name a little bit.
uh, Andy's featured in
Jeez.
one of my favorite old school punk bands would be the Dead Kennedys. They had Holiday in Cambodia, which Pol Pot is featured in.
Wow. Wow.
And
Damn.
Holiday in Cambodia actually is the name of my Wi-Fi.
Oh, I thought I was going to say maybe your wife,
Nah,
your wifey.
I, I don't have a Cambodian nor a bride, but I know somebody that would like one because they like Southeast Asians. So
All
some
right,
so,
let's get back
so,
to
so,
football.
so somebody hailing from Norway. See
Yes, yes,
see
yes.
see if anybody can figure that one out.
Tony, this Arsenal world is a small world, right? You know that, right? Let's get back to football, okay? And football in England, and more specifically Arsenal, right? Lawrence was a little bit negative when he was chatting about Arsenal. I just feel like, listen, it's his prerogative, Lawrence's prerogative to feel the way he does about Arsenal. Uh, he had some great stories about the old Arsenal back in the day, but when you see, I don't know how they can do it, Tony. Like you see Arsenal going in the right direction, but you think you know better, and you don't like what you're seeing from Mikel Arteta. Well, there you go.
I still think I'm responsible for Lawrence leaving because he went from, because his math didn't add up, because he had the number of weeks, then he said the days, he said it was 5 to 6 weeks or four
Yes,
to 5 weeks. Then
yes,
the next week it's suddenly 7 weeks.
right. Well, also you
But
named 12 men on your team, so
I did
there you go.
not name 12 men. You were doing what you're always doing when I'm speaking,
For
and you
wingbacks,
weren't
you had a
paying.
back four and you had wingbacks, and you didn't realize you had two forwards left, and you picked three forwards.
You weren't paying attention, right?
But yeah, listen, that's
I can't make small mistakes after you screw me out of Salhurst Park.
we'll always have Selhurst Park, Tony. You know, uh, it gave you 11 points last weekend, so there you go. Um,
If
I
all else
enjoy the
fails,
stories. I enjoy the stories of
I
the old days. But he
I,
was
I
the American version of Lee Gunner, which, by the way, Gary has stolen that tag of late. Whoa, Tony, Gary. Um, did love Lawrence's old stories about Arsenal as they were good. They were good stories. I just feel like, why can't you see where we're going? And you have to box yourself in because you said you didn't like Arteta from the start. You know what I mean?
you're
Tough.
always boxing yourself in, right?
So, Tony, do you know about Alex Higgins? Tony's the Arsenal fan circle version of Alex Higgins. Alex Higgins,
I I
snooker
do
player,
not I do not know.
absolutely mercurial talent from Northern Ireland. Alex Higgins,
but
snooker player. He had a lovely finesse on the table, and but played in a very
uh,
erratic
uh,
way.
I know you love snooker, Ray, but are you allowed to love people from the north?
Absolutely, yes. It's Arsenal fan circle here, man.
Might get a little explosive, right?
Everybody's welcome. Well, you should know all about explosive. Yeah, but Alex Higgins was a mercurial talent, but he was he was he had, let's say, he had good times and he had more bad times than he had good times. The guy was a genius, but fucking hell, yeah, Hurricane. They call him Hurricane Higgins because he would, when he was going, he would play the game pretty fast. Tony, I think it would be worth a little YouTube dive in. Take a look at Alec Higgins as well. Jimmy White as well. I mean, the game of snooker uh, was a very dour kind of world in the 80s. You had Brownie will know. He had Griffiths, Terry Griffiths. You had Ray Reardon. Some players were just really, really good players, but the game was slow. The game was slightly boring. And then you had Steve Davis. Now, Steve Davis, he was English, but he was a robot, Tony. He was like the guy, he never went out for a beer. He never did anything. But he would play. And he was like a robot. He was indestructible, Steve Davis was, you know.
I don't think Stefan knew your love for snooker and that it would lead to a 10-minute circle.
Well, I feel like I'm teaching you something tonight, Tony. And if you do anything after we depart tonight and go our separate ways, if you do anything with the rest of your evening, go to YouTube and check out some of the snooker. Alex Higgins,
So so
um,
so
Jimmy
so
White.
what's the difference between that and regular pool, right?
Okay, regular pool, you have solids and stripes, and then you have black ball, right? With snooker, you have 15 red balls. You have a yellow, green, brown, blue, pink, and black. Now, to You try to make a break, which is a sequence of balls together. Make a sequence of balls, and you have to start with a red ball, and then any of the other colors. It's usually stay around the red or the pink. You just stay around that side of the table until um, you put away all of the red balls with a color ball in between it, and then when you finish the last red, you get to the yellow, green, brown, blue, pink, and black. It has to be done in that sequence. So the difference is it's a longer game. The games are longer, but you're not just restricted to stripes or solids. You know what I mean? But it was a really,
I,
really great
I,
time in the
I,
90s, the
I,
2000s for
I,
snooker.
I, I definitely couldn't play that drunk because I would never remember the sequence of balls.
Yes, and players were drinking beer and playing snooker at the time. You know what I mean? There was a guy called Bill Werbenick from Canada. And a guy called Tony Virgo. You could be a Tony Virgo as well.
I'm a Virgo, right? I am born in September.
So you are a
September.
Virgo.
Yeah.
All right, that's your new nickname, Tony Virgo. Or John, I think it was John Virgo. John Virgo. There was a Tony Drago. You might want to be a Tony Drago, a Maltese. He was a Maltese player. So you had players from all over the world, really. And it's become much more international now in recent years, but snooker's a great game. And when I was enjoying snooker as a teenager, uh, a young teenager came through the game as well. And after Steve Davis, this was my player. Stephen Hendry was my player. I really really liked him. He was a little bit of a maverick player, but his game became more and more solid, and he became much like Steve Davis. When I talked about Steve Davis being a robot, Stephen Hendry was amazing. I think he
I,
won 7 or 8 championships.
I miss when you could actually turn it on ESPN or ESPN2 and see pool being played.
Yeah,
And bowling. You don't really see bowling now either. It just kind of.
yeah. So that's a little bit of an offshoot on snooker. And look, a lot of our viewers will know snooker. A lot of people watching right now will know
Yeah.
snooker. Um, Stephen Hendry was the man. I still remember when who did he beat? He beat in the World Championship. He beat a big professional player when he came through as an amateur. So players could come through in the world championships in Sheffield. Players could qualify. So they qualify as an amateur, and they could go to the Crucible. The Crucible was amazing as well. I mean, what an atmosphere! Just watching that on TV as well. Um, Dennis Taylor beat Steve Davis. So many great memories of snooker. Characters in sport have always been loved by fans. Nowadays, sports people are all PR trained. Yeah, Brownie, I mean, there's a whole podcast there, right? About yesteryears and sports. And is sports the same now? You know what I mean? Snooker is the perfect sport for Tony. He has a magic stick. There you go. So you put chalk in you chalk your cue and you hit the balls. I
Uh,
can see how this could go sideways. You know, chalking your cue and hitting the balls. Uh, Brownie, not Mason Greenwood. Okay, Tony would like 9 ball. That's pool, probably right.
yeah.
Much bigger table. The table's also bigger. Not many players are good at both snooker and pool. Uh,
What is?
yeah,
I just never understood when you go to. Is it a is it a hexagon? Hexagon with the bumpers, or is it an octagon?
no, I'm just what I did with Tony Virgo was I got crossed up with John Virgo and Tony Drago. I wanted to liken you to Tony Drago,
but
but
but but
your
but
star
I
sign is Virgo, so you're Tony
but I
Virgo.
can. I'm a star boy, right?
Star
But
boy.
but but if you go Tony Virgo, then you get both players in there. So it's even.
Exactly. The viewers will know. You get the best of John Virgo and Tony Drago. And that's a player who could win every championship, you know?
But let's see how long Ray remembers Tony Virgo.
I I won't forget that because I know Tony Drago was quite a player, you know what I mean?
But but but
Well,
but eh, but is it a hexagon or is it an
there was a guy
octagon?
called Cliff. There was a guy called Cliff. He was Canadian also, and
Ray,
Bill Werbenek. So people could help me who
you,
Cliff was.
you
Go ahead,
you
Tony.
you can go off a snooker, but is it a hexagon or is it an octagon with the bumpers?
What? The
But,
corners?
but, no, the game with the bumpers in the middle.
I think you're talking about maybe billiards.
That, that's that's what I thought it was.
The one with
Billiards.
no pockets. The one with no pockets. So I think it's a game very much about cannons. You have to and as Arsenal fans, we should like cannons. You have to get like a cannon off the other ball. So you'd hit one ball and need to cannon your white ball onto another ball for extra points. I remember Tony Knowles. I remember Tony Knowles. But Cliff Clavin, was it? It wasn't Cliff Clavin. Cliff Bill Warburton, yeah, he drank a lot, Tiger. Bill Warburton did. Uh, Listen,
So it's
once
that
in a while,
go
it's not bad to
go go
diverge.
go go back one. Go back to brownies.
Brownie in the 80s.
Yeah, 80s and 90s. Brownie was around in the 90s and he was in the underworld, so he was at Snooker Halls. And what did Paul Pot have to say?
I am not highlighting Paul Pot anymore. Now I feel some kind of way about that, Tony. You know what I mean? Might have to mail them tickets. That's what he said. Higgins was my favorite. He could be, you know what, but was clear rock and roll. Hendry won 7, Davis won 6, and I think as you might have heard of Ronnie O'Sullivan. Um,
I'm now wondering what Paul Pot would say about Hendry being mixed in there because I have a sneaking suspicion that Paul Pot likes wrestling. And if you say a certain body's name, he appears. So Paul Pot is happy with the
I'd
mention
love
of
to go to the
Hendry.
Crucible. Yeah, the Crucible is the mecca in snooker. It's an
The,
auditorium with 2 snooker.
the, the Crucible is a good movie.
Hmm?
The Crucible is a good movie.
Yeah, but the Crucible is it's a good name for the auditorium that they're going to be in. That Taylor, Dennis Taylor and Steve Davis black ball finish. It was it was a best of 35 and it's 17-17 and the points are equal or pretty equal and it's down to the last ball on the table, Tony. It's a black ball and
Black Ball.
it's worth 7 points. Whoever gets that black ball wins the tournament and Steve Davis overcut the black. You have to watch that Dennis Taylor Steve Davis final as well. I think I'll push a few links to you as well later. Ronnie O'Sullivan was my favorite. Time for Brownie to leave a brownie in Tottenham's toilet bowl of a stadium. Tony Drago. I only know Ivan Drago. Rocky smashed him for killing Apollo Creed. Yeah, there was a Tony Drago, a Maltese snooker player as well. Started playing 9 ball after his snooker days were over. Bill Werbenek, a big Canadian guy, 18 points, 18 pints in a match Indeed. Snooker table is big. If you got on the wrong side of the snooker table, you'd have to get an extension cue. You have to get out all the hardware to be able to make that shot. Um, Cliff
I,
Cliff Thorburn. There you go, Tiger and Gooner. Thank you. It was
I,
Cliff Thorburn.
I
Yeah.
never understood in regular pool why you had to bring out the extender and stuff.
Well, if you're going diagonally, it's difficult to. Gary makes an appearance. Hello, hello, Gary. How are you? Hope you're doing well.
Gary, go back and rewatch this show or re-listen to it.
Cliff Thorburn first live was 100, so 147. If you get blacks with every red ball and you clear all of the colors, that's the maximum you can do. 147. They call it a total clearance. Um, you need about 70 points to win each game. They're taking snooker to Saudi now instead of Crucible. You telling me the World Championship has been moved from Sheffield to Saudi? That's ridiculous. It was amazing drama, definitely. Tony Knowles is Tony. I'm so confused. Is Tony Knowles this Tony?
Tony was do a watch along of the Saudi wrestling this weekend, but I don't have any partners. They all have prior obligations. So Tony
Red,
probably won't be
Red
doing a
John. I
watch
have a
along
feeling.
unless he finds a rad tag crew to join him.
I have a feeling that Red John already knows who Linda Lizardi is. You know.
Ray,
Yeah.
what was your minimum pints to start being good at snooker?
Minimum pints.
Yep.
Well, 0. Right. You don't drink to get better at snooker.
You drink to get better at darts. Come on, how many pints does it take you to get good at darts, right?
I don't think you drink to get better at darts either, but
I do.
I love a bit of bully. Love a bit of bully. Darts is another great game as well. Used to be a thing where guys with beer bellies that would counterweight their stance, right? You know, they're using their beer belly as their center of gravity as they're leaning forward to play darts. They're athletes, but they're athletes, Tony.
But isn't it crazy? Like beers like Bemis, it feels like you eat a whole loaf of bread, but they're one of the lowest calorie beers they are.
Yeah, love a bit of Beamish. Drink. Tiger drinks when he plays pool. Yeah, Tony has a valid point. Tell Gary that. You should frame that one, Tony.
Yeah.
uh,
I feel like all the tweets that I would frame are from Stefan.
the guy in charge of snooker now is Barry Hearn, who's a father, a boxing promoter. Eddie Hearn, hence why it's been moved to Saudi. Wow. Is Gary coming on the stream? Doesn't look like it at this point. I'm more of a pool player when I always play better. I'd always play better when pissed with beer. Yeah. So yeah, that's snooker. A little. I don't know how we got onto it, but good times.
You don't remember where it started, right?
No, tell me.
It started when we got off on Wrexham and Rectum.
Yeah, and because it's a Welsh club, I started talking about. I actually remember Terry Griffiths going, "I'm in the final now. I'm in the final now." Brownie will remember that one.
I still know if I said a Bemis there on the snooker table, you would have it gone in a short amount of time, right?
Yeah. Listen, I always remember Dave from LFC Chats. Listen, Liverpool supporter, but he's a good guy. He always used to delve into some kind of topics just to mix it up a little bit. I think sometimes you got to mix it up a little bit and not just talk about football all the time.
Well,
Tiger
well,
and
well,
Gunner,
well,
indeed, a great topic. And I really enjoyed just like reminding myself of John Virgo and Tony Drago. And I just morphed it into Tony
Tony
Virgo.
Virgo. Here I am.
Yeah, a snooker player from the 80s. And
And then,
you actually you actually look like John Virgo with Dennis Taylor's glasses on, and
uh,
you play like Alex Higgins.
all right.
The funny part about this is you have no idea what we're talking about.
But don't be surprised on the Sunday show if you see Tony dressed as an 80s snooker player.
Yes. Bring your chalk with you. Do you have chalk and a cue?
Eh, I'm sure I can steal one from a local bar.
Vigo Carpathian. Do you know who that is? Oh, you actually look a
Uh,
bit like Vigo Mortensen as well, don't you? Anyway, Tony Virgo. There you go.
I, I like Ovigo.
Yeah, have a cue and a fedora.
Eh,
I think Tony
well,
Drago had a fedora. You know. Um, oh, it was good times. Cliff Thorburn. Cliff Thorburn was a solid, dour kind of player. He would slog. These are slogfests sometimes. Some of the way they'd play. Sometimes they'd play. Um, I remember John Parrott as well. You know, the Liverpudlian. Um, there we go. Tiger and
I
Gunner met. He met Linda Lizardi. There you go.
I
Nice
just
one.
thought I'm just glad Ray learned my tactics. You pick Crystal Palace when they're home. You go for Newcastle every once in a while. But
Yeah.
everybody thought I cheated when I had a clear system of teams that I would pick. Ray, you have like a 95% idea who I'd pick, right?
Probably. Yeah, I'd have a 95% idea who you'd pick. Linda Lizardi was with George Best's wife at the time. I I was only a young whipper back then. Linda looks like Caitlyn Jenner. I don't know about that. Are we sure they're not the same person? Paul Pot, you're just like bad. You're a bad man, Paul Pot. Um,
So who did you fall for first? Did you fall for Linda Carter, or did you fall for your favorite female from Star Wars, or did you have an earlier
okay,
female
this is probably a good question. All right, I like the way you're going with this one because the chat box can tell me as well.
We got a thumbs up, right?
All right. Did you
Let's see
ever
if we can do it
see?
again.
I'm sure he was. Who gave you a thumbs up? You or somebody in the
I
chat?
did. I did,
All
but
right.
it only works like part
You
of the
remember a
time.
show called Buck Rogers in the 20th
Yep,
century?
yep.
Aaron Gray. Aaron Gray. Well, what was the name? Wilma. Wilma. Yeah.
I vaguely remember because I was probably like 3 or 4 when my dad was watching that one.
Yeah. Yeah. So Buck Rogers was early, one of the first.
Yeah, you turned you broke part of a B off, right?
Switched you with an F. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yep.
Um, because it was science fiction. It was swashbuckler, Buck Rogers, and had some droids in there, had some fighting in there. But I don't think they were always just friends, or comrades. Uh, Wilma and Buck Rogers, they never really got romantically involved, so that was probably part
Uh,
of it as well. You know what I mean?
Right. Ray got romantically involved with her.
uh, and then every time there was a Bond movie out as well. You know what I mean? Can't beat a Bond girl, can you?
I still think On the Top was one of the best names. Minus Pussy Galore, it's
That's
hard to top.
more. Was that
Hard to.
Austin Powers? Was more
What?
Austin Powers, or was it part of Bond lore? You know what I mean? James Bond.
On the Top was part of James Bond.
Yeah. The Fall Guy. You know the original Fall Guy, as well. That was
Uh,
good.
that was my favorite TV show. One of my favorite TV shows. It's funny. It was Dukes of Hazzard. It was Fall Guy, and it was A Team as well. Try,
Uh,
try trying to
T.J.
remember
Hooker. T.J. Hooker.
Yeah, what's that one too?
William Shatner.
Then I followed William Shatner and Kid Around. That
Get
that 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 was a great TV show.
Night Industries 2000. There you go.
Love Knight Rider.
But that was just Hoff. That was just a Hoff loving himself. You know what I mean?
So I know you spent your summers in Germany, right?
Yes.
Well, what was there? What form of Hasselhoff were they in love with at that time, or did he have a record that was
Uh,
like a
Listen, not that I know this for sure, but I think that he could retire there. He could go live in Germany and be, yeah. Listen, Stefan, big good shout there. That was my tennis. That was my tennis one as well, for sure. But yeah, the Hofmeister, he could go live in Germany because he would live off the popularity of he would live off the popularity of those shows.
I
MacGyver,
I
MacGyver was good too.
I I was a fan of Hingis, Ray, for
What was the one
female.
with the helicopter? Was that you know the one with the helicopter? Ernest Borgnine?
Uh, what was that?
Yeah. I'm sure people will tell us in the Night Rider. Night Rider 112. Airwolf, yeah. PX Gunner, you're on it. Airwolf. Oh God. And of course the Dukes of Hazard, right?
Yep.
Milk. Milk tray with the helicopter. There you go. Milk tray chocolates. What about Teletubbies? Oh yeah, Tom.
And the narrator of Dukes of Hazzard. Do,
Chips,
do,
yeah.
do, do you know where he almost died, Ray?
Who?
The guy that wrote a theme or sung the theme to Dukes of Hazzard.
No.
He was supposed Welling Jennings was supposed to be on the plane that crashed.
Huh.
But he was sick and decided to ride him a car instead of get him a plane.
Dempsey and
So he
Makepeace was good.
so he wasn't in there with Buddy Holly the day the music died.
Um,
He,
Alonso,
he,
don't
that
associate yourself with Mr. Pod, Alonso. Come on now. You're better than that, Alonso. Alonso, you're better than that. Alonso,
he,
click the link. Click the link,
Alon-
Alonso. Come on, you know you want to.
Alonso, you missed a lot of fun. You missed Ray talk about snooker for 20
Snooker.
minutes.
Pod, pod, Paul Pot is Alonso's brother? No.
I still don't know how we went
Um,
from Wrexham and Rectum to.
Alonso, there's a quick solution here. Stop eating. You fat slag. Come on,
Fucking.
stop eating.
What has that ever stopped Alonso from joining before? I think in this case, I'm eating's a euphemism for something else because it's never stopped Alonso from joining the show
Did I
before.
miss Gary and Stan? No. You missed airtime with Tony and I. That's what you missed. Gary didn't make the cut.
I'm surprised
All right.
Paul Pot hasn't tried to join us.
Can we talk about the Cowboys,
The
Tony?
Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah. So
What about them, right?
if you were to equate the Dallas Cowboys to a football team playing in the Premier League, which team would you pick?
Probably Spurs because they haven't won anything forever.
There you go. That's what I wanted to hear. You're going to hear from you. You'll be getting a letter from the commissioner tomorrow morning, Tony.
There's shite.
Tony.
If anybody tunes in to the trip Monday and wondering why Tony isn't there, it's because Gary did not like the answer to Ray's question about the Cowboys.
Yeah, I mean, if you follow the Cowboys in American football, you need to be a Tottenham fan. So the commissioner of the road trip will be sending you a letter in the morning. A cease and desist letter.
Is that Paul Pod or is that Gary?
That's Gary. That's Gary. All right. Only one Slack calls me Alonso, and that's Brown. If there's shit this season, unfortunately, it's got to be Ipswich. Okay. Right, John, I think we have to come back to football eventually, right, Tony?
I'm just glad I'm in third place when I haven't picked 3 weeks.
Yeah, you're still hanging in there. You know what I mean? Who needs to up their game a little bit? Stan and Alonso need to. Gary's fallen down the pecking order on 22. Tom 23. So yeah, listen. I hit gold with Tottenham. I hit gold with Tottenham at Selhurst Park. Twin Peaks was proper strange. That's for sure. Twin Peaks was. Red John, I'm going to put a star on the starting lineup for the Newcastle game. Hang with us for a little bit longer, and we'll get into our starting lineup.
And I thought the sequel a couple years ago that was on Showtime was even weirder than the original.
Did you like the X-Files?
I love the X-Files.
Yeah. Because they told, it was an ongoing development of the relationship between Mulder and Scully, but they told uniquely different stories each and every time. So, yeah, listen, that was interesting.
There was aliens almost every week, right?
I used to listen. I probably had the best of both worlds. I could see some British TV shows, and I could see American stuff as well. You know what I mean? So went through all of that stuff. You know what I mean? Even did you ever see something called Space 1999?
Yep.
It seems so old now. You know what I mean? Space 1999. It seemed. Hi, Alonso. Yeah,
hello, hi guys, Thompson. Slag.
We've been having a little bit of fun. That's for sure.
Enjoy your time Alonso, you can speak as long as you want. We don't have Stan or Gary, so all
That's good because it seems like every time one of us talk, Tony, Gary interrupts us, and then he'll put his own narrative out there, right?
Speak as if Gary will never hear about this.
Hey man, I'm banned from his show, so this is kind of somewhat of a payback. But yeah, I mean, it's like he puts his own narrative, and Russ believes that narrative because it's Gary, the expert over Arsenal, right, Tony?
Yeah.
So anything. So any opinion we have on Arsenal, he'll get mad at because he takes it too personal. This is a podcast, man. We're all entitled to our own opinions, even though Arsenal plays for the back, huh, Tony?
Yep.
Anyway, so right. So yeah, I mean, I'm glad to be on with you and Ray, Tony. So yeah, have a great night. Great.
Cheers, Gary. Take care.
Yeah. So basically, I was talking to him yesterday with Arsenal and personal and I thought that it was when yours turn to shine. And I can't wait to see how he does this season. I know that Arteta still wants on the bench, which I think about this because it is Arteta. I think if he puts the youngster in there right now, he's afraid that they'll mess up and not take enough chances, and I think that's the wrong way to go. I think clearly you've seen guys like MLS, Miles Lewis-Scully playing well. I think you're seeing Nwaneri playing well for the opportunity they've been given, and I think they're on their way to becoming household names amongst the team that'll be on a bench or a certain 11. It really is exciting because you're seeing Zinchenko getting dropped, over MLS. To me, at least, I think Arteta now favors him over Zinchenko as far as him being so off as a replacement. So I think Arteta finally sees that the more and more we play Tony's academy kids, the more and more they have a chance to succeed.
Yeah, absolutely. BX just fell to tremor in New Jersey. There's some strong activity there. It's all a bit of fun. Don't worry about it.
The Sith Lord of New Jersey.
Yeah, the Russian mafia took Tony and left one of the KGB agents behind. Tony Ruski, and Tony Virgo. There you go. If you know, you know. Right, definitely, Alonso. I hear what you're saying. Nwaneri and Mazu Skelly, they're becoming one of the first options off the bench, if not starting games. So think of that. They push past players like Kiwior, Zinchenko, and people like maybe Jesus and Sterling when you're at Nwaneri. So that's kudos to the kids. They pushed up a little bit in the thoughts of Mikel Arteta.
I'm still surprised Zinchenko started yesterday.
I'm surprised. I'm not surprised that Brownie forgot I'm American too, because I know there was something about Willie Mays Hayes. Right. So, I think I think these Highland boys know about. I think they're probably inspired by Saka to make an impact on a certain 11. So it's quite a good thing. But I'm sure Tony, being his the academy kid master, will want them there earlier.
Oh yeah, he's been lobbying already.
Ray was trying to give him 15 to 20 minutes. I was trying to get him 20 to 30 minutes. Substitution coming on at the 60th minute.
So
preferably.
what do you feel about that, Alonso? Is give Nwaneri cameos in the Premier League. If he can't start games, maybe Trossard's more the senior player. When Trossard's getting a little tired in that, creative number 10 position or right eight, bring Nwaneri in. But how many minutes do you think you'd like to see him play regularly, Alonso?
On the bench.
Yeah, off the bench. I mean, if you can't start games, give me a minutes. Just say 15 to 20. I'll be very happy with that.
I'll give him maybe 30 or 25 rather. 25 would be ideal.
Yay!
That's
Would be
what we
ideal.
say. Knowing which side of the bread you're buttered on. Yeah.
It would be
Right.
ideal. It would be ideal because he's still a very young kid, and so when he did come on, I remember one time he was on against Tottenham. Right, he looked like he was going to score not once but twice, and I think had he had more time to come off the bench, he probably would have made more of an impact. But I like the way he's been doing things when he does come on. So it's just an added threat going forward. Though in a way, I'm kind of glad that Gabriel Jesus did score a goal for himself.
Yes, he needed to,
Uh,
right? He's
yeah,
playing Preston, Alonso.
I got the confetti and the balloons, right?
but anytime you can score a goal, if you haven't scored in a long time, it kind of helps your confidence. Um, and hopefully he'll continue that once he comes on during his time that he does come on. So
Yeah. Like
kind of
I
happy
said,
for him.
like I said to Tony earlier, you're given a chance to play against Preston, and you're not going to play another weaker team until FA Cup, early stage of the FA Cup. You need to be taking advantage of that. And listen, it was a great free kick from Martinelli, a high lofted ball, almost like our rival fans hate the fact that we're pretty good at set pieces now. We have routines, and they hate this. They're starting to remember who Nicholas Jover is. They're starting to understand who his name is, and they hate that he's on the sideline, um, directing these free kicks. You know why? Because they're rivals, and they know we're good at this. A lovely free kick routine from Marinelli. A really high arcing ball to Kiwior. Your man, Tony, Kiwior. He heads the ball down. And Jesus, to be fair to Jesus, he's on that quick. And he's able, what he has done is like moved away from the goal line to the 6-yard box. So he's anticipating Tony that's going to drop into that space. And before you know it, the goalkeeper doesn't even know it's in the net. Tony.
Way to go! Way to go! It's where he should be. It's really his only strength is kind of getting those type rebound or just inside the box stuff. He doesn't do much outside the box offensively.
Yeah. That's 1-0, and then Ethan Nwaneri in that goal. Well, it's just sublime. It's just like the minute it hits his foot, as I said earlier, it's going into the top corner of the net, and he's really taken his opportunities in the Carabao Cup. 2 games, 3 goals in the Carabao Cup, which will only make Arsenal fans clamor more and more for Premier League games. Is it good, Alonso? I see that like, oh my God, that's so good. Gavin, oh my God, that's so good eyes. His eyes just rolled there like, oh my God, this is so, yeah. Is it noodles?
Really,
Chili. All right.
spaghetti.
Spaghetti. I had spaghetti earlier. Tony hates spaghetti.
Why, dude?
It's too thin. You go with a fettuccine or you go with a linguine. You don't
God.
go. You don't choose with spaghetti.
Did you have a meatball, Alonso? I had some meatballs earlier.
Yeah.
There you go. How'd you know? How'd you know I was eating spaghetti and meatballs?
Great mind, things alike.
Great minds. Come on. Tony, what are you having? What do you have for supper? What are you making for later?
Nothing yet. I'm not sure. Not sure what I'm the.
All right. Alonso, tell me about Nwaneri's goal.
It was left foot, right? Left footed goal, and it was like one of those goals that been pretty high at the left post. Pretty cool, man. Like it was sublime, really was. And I tell you, this kid, every time he's on a pitch, he wants to make things happen. Yeah, he did, Paul, Mr. Pop, and it tastes lovely, right? So just to get a player of this magnitude, it's like soccer when you first broke through the first team, right? It's like this kid has and he has no fear. He's not afraid to mess up. He's not afraid to do a spectacular goal, and that's what we need. That's what kind of player we need. Just like Miles Lewis Kelly, that it wasn't his fault, but I think that solid goal against him on his side will only make him stronger, and he'll grow from that. So I like these kids that aren't afraid to learn on the fly, and it makes them better. I think that these mistakes, if you do that, then these kids are up for it. And we haven't had that, since soccer, but before that it was Rocher who came through the academy. So it's good seeing these academy kids playing and learning at the same time.
Yeah, 100%. And then we had Kai Havertz scoring a header that he just can't miss now. I mean, he does miss chances. He doesn't score 2 goals. We're waiting for the time when he does score a brace or a hat trick, because I'll be on to Stan about that. Hey, Kai Havertz, your boy, scoring 2 goals in a game, but that's a goal that he would not have scored at Chelsea, let's say. And here he is at Arsenal scoring a goal. And I know it's Preston North End. We've had a little bit of luck with the draw to get Preston. And again, you could say we've had a little bit of luck in the draw to get Crystal Palace. But now we're in the quarterfinals in the middle of December, and it is important to push forward. Our fixture list could become a little bit congested. The usual Carabao Cup semi-final situation is not played out within the space of a week. It's actually spread between mid-January and early February. So there's about 3 or 4 weeks between the first and the second. I won't mention that word, Tony. But you know what I mean, the first and the second, right?
Yep.
Ray and Tony, can we get Ray, Tony, and Alonso? This is this is a comment from earlier, which I held back. It's been starred. So, Alonso, what would you like to see for your starting 11 for the Newcastle game?
Well, we can comment about Kiwior real quick. He had 2 assists that game yesterday. That's crazy.
Yes, the header. Yeah, the header down. That is crazy. 2 assists for your boy, Tony. There you go. Tony Virgo.
So
happy.
I guess, it's like, to me, I think you stick with the lineup that you have only because, or is Gabriel Magalhaes fit to play, or is there any word on?
I was going to ask Tony Magalhaes any news, and I don't think he's going to be able to play this game, right? The way he came off, I'd be surprised.
Well, is Calafiori fit to play?
No, Calafiori's injured, so
wow.
You're going to play Timber. We're going to play Timber. We're going to play White. I'd play White right back.
Okay, so then
Timber left back. That's just me.
See, Ben White didn't have a bad game either last weekend. He was just last man standing and got caught. So
he was the only defender in that back 4 at the end of the game. Kiwior was there, but he was out of position. So On that right side, I'd play White and Saliba, Alonso. What are you thinking? We'll do it that way first.
Yeah, so I put Miles Lewis Skelly on the right, put Van White right back, put Kiwior or left.
You put Miles Lewis on the left.
Yeah, Timber. I put Timber right back, Van White right center back, left center back is Saliba. Left back
You're moving.
is Miles Lewis Skelly. Yeah. I would put Partey, Rice, and Nwaneri in midfield. Martinelli.
Partey, Rice. Yeah.
I put Martinelli, Havertz, and Saka.
Martinelli, Havertz, and Saka, of course.
The number 6.
I mean, we're going to be brave and say put Nwaneri into the lineup.
But I put Partey at midfield because this is Newcastle are always one of those teams that have the potential to bully Arsenal.
Physical, yeah.
Right, physical team. So
what happened to Jorginho last year with Gummy Bears, Gramaris?
Yeah.
Punch him in the back of the back. You know what I mean?
That's crazy, man.
So listen, I'd go with Ben White as my right back and Miles Lewis Skelly as my left back, and I'd play Timber as your left centre back, and Saliba in his normal position. That's what I would do.
You're leaving out the guy that just got 2 assists for?
I'm leaving out Kiwior because look, and I think he probably will go with Kiwior and put Kiwior between Saliba and Timber. Timber's going to play left back, I think. You know. Listen, Stefan says, I've got a feeling Arsenal might not find this easy. They may not find it easy. It may be uncomfortable, but we may just win the game. And I'd be happy. I'd be fine with that.
Any chance it's Ben White and Saliba at the center backs?
Ben White, yeah, a strong chance.
That's what I put down.
And then, as Alonso said, Timber would be your right back, and we could do Kiwior or Miles Lewis Skelly as your left back. You know, but I think we're talking about at the most 6 players for the 4 positions. It's just how does Mikel Arteta see it coming down? Is Timber not injured? I don't think Timber is injured. He came off during the LFC game, but he was, I don't know if he's limping. He was more tired than limping. Like it was, his fitness got the better of him. Like he wasn't fit enough to finish the game.
Yeah, they were tugging on his feet like it was like it was cramps. It's actually both legs still.
Joe Linton. Yeah, they're physical. They're a physical player. Nwaneri is another player with an engine similar to Martinelli, which is fantastic. Yeah, good point. He just keeps going and going. But, you know, he is 17 and a half years old. So I did say half, right? Skid Row should not have been above square on the bell.
And he can finish, right? Martinelli said, and he can finish, unlike Martinelli.
Yeah.
Martinelli.
Do the Arsenal team travel around 6 a.m. to get to Newcastle? They stay overnight in Newcastle. They would go up there on the Friday night. And it's an important game again because it's the first game of the weekend. And you don't want to drop points or lose this game, being the first game of the weekend. Because as Arsenal fans, we want to enjoy our weekend as well. You want to get our result in the banks and see what Liverpool can do right after us at home to Brighton and what City can do away to Bournemouth. And we know what away to Bournemouth looked like for Arsenal. So City could drop points there as well.
You know, people forget how good Brighton have been playing this year. I would not be surprised if Liverpool dropped points as well. I think Danny Welbeck has been playing outstanding. Like the form of his life, it seems like. So,
yeah.
We never know. I think Brighton are flying high right now as well.
Yeah. and it's going to be a different teams now because some of those players were held back because Cody Gakpo played, Endo played. These are players who are on the periphery of Liverpool. The City might have a tough game at Bournemouth. Bournemouth are a tough team. Semenyo has come on leaps and bounds in the last year. He's an Arsenal fan, and I wonder if it's a player we would be looking at as well, Semenyo. So yeah, I would go with Partey and Rice in midfield. I know that he's going to go with Trossard, and I know Nwaneri is going to sit on the bench, but that's not a bad player to come on as well in the second half. Nwaneri will inject some life into us as well. He always seems to do that, Tony, coming off the bench. Offers a spark to us.
That's why I hated as late as he came on Liverpool, because Liverpool did that 3 subs at 60 minutes, and it really ignited them for a while.
Yeah. Right, John said new manager bounce is going to suck. Always Arsenal hurt by new manager bounces. We're going to have United in the beginning of December. So I think Amorim's going to be in pretty soon. So Rude might not get that many games. I love Rude as much as I hate Man United.
So does Rude actually get to pick some coaches unlike Freddie? I still can't believe Arsenal let him have his own.
Well, why
own
would you do
coaches.
that if you know you're going to be making a change very quickly again? You're not going to bring a bunch of coaches in that the manager, your ultimate manager, is not going to want to use.
Yeah, but they usually give you the 2 assistants. Come on, it's not that.
Yeah, listen, I think I remember the BFG was helping out as well. With Freddie as well.
Is that a good thing or not, though? I'm not really sure if he's that good or not.
Who? With the academy?
Yeah.
Well, didn't you just get Nwaneri and Miles Lewis-Skelly from the academy?
Yeah, but you know who their coach was, and that coach left.
Jack Wilshere.
So you think it was all Jack Wilshere, but not BFG?
I don't know. It seems like who's ever been under.
I mean, it's a bit like saying it's a bit like saying Ten Hag has left Man United. Now they're going to start playing well. It doesn't always ring true. You know what I mean? The quality of the players was there in the academy. That Nwaneri could come through into this Arsenal team at the age of 17. Arteta brought him in when he was 15 for his debut. He played a little bit last season, and he's playing a little bit more this season. Now, would we like him to play more minutes? Yes. Instead of 15 minutes, let's do 25 minutes a game. You know what I mean? Because Tony, you want to look at the end of the season at like 2,500 minutes for Nwaneri. You know what I mean? In the league.
I don't want that many, but like I said, I would start him until he made a mistake, and he's not start. Yeah. There's plenty of chances that he should have started, but
it's hard to make him in the position he plays. It's hard to make a mistake unless you really miss chances. You know what I mean? He's playing in a forward position. He's not playing a defensive position as well. It's amazing how when a manager gets sacked, the players suddenly start playing. So, Stefan, I call this the new manager bounce, and I think it's usually for about 10 games, in my opinion. These Man United players will pick up for about 10 games, and then we'll see the old ways again. You know what I mean? That would be mad, Alonso. That would be mad if that was the case.
When was the last time Arsenal got the new manager bounce?
When we got a new manager?
Arteta.
When Arteta came in, we beat Man United on New Year's Day when Arteta came in for the first time in a long time. We weren't able to beat the big sides. Remember?
Come on, Ray. You're not giving somebody credit.
Who should I give credit? Tony Virgo? Is that who I should give credit to?
No, you should give it to the manager of the villains.
Listen, this is pretty true here. Red John said Arteta had a new manager bounce and won the FA Cup. I don't care what happened. He won an FA Cup. I don't care if it was Emery's players or however you want to discredit it. We won an FA Cup the same way Man United won an FA Cup last season. We beat Chelsea in the final, and we beat Man City in the semi-final.
He started in 8th place and finished in 8th place.
Right.
But under Emery, how many games did we go undefeated, right?
22.
Plus 5.
Okay, under Emery, how did Aston Villa do yesterday?
Yeah, are they favoring their other competitions?
Most likely.
Right.
So it's okay for Emery to bin off a cup competition now. But when Arteta does it, it's not okay.
Right. Who's at the top of the table at the Champions League?
Aston Villa are. Will they be at the top after 8 games? Probably not. I'm just saying. The way people say Arteta binned off a cup competition is exactly what Emery did yesterday. Did he pick a weak side? I don't know. You pick. That's the thing as well. In the Carabao Cup, you need to play some of your players who are on the edges in the squad, but you need to make sure that they have the desire to go out and win. They have the desire to go and compete. And
there's only a handful of teams that take the League Cup seriously, right?
Absolutely, and you're starting to see them now. You'll see we're in the last 8 now. Those teams are going to start taking it seriously. You're 3 games away from a final, a quarterfinal, and two sides of a semi-final.
Thank you, Ray.
I stopped myself. Tony Virgo playing for United. There you go.
You know what you did there, Ray? You put your best foot forward.
I didn't go for that one-footed challenge. You know what I mean? All right. So I think Martinelli is showing up. Havertz is showing up, and we know what Bukayo Saka is. The only question I think we'll play Trossard in that creative part of the midfield. Up against Newcastle as well. It's going to be a tough game. Newcastle have lost away a little bit, right, in the league. Anything else to mention, Tony or Alonso? Man United sacked Ten Hag. Maybe they're going to go the right way.
Ray copied Tony in the upset challenge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Alonso, you got some points. You got 7.5 points for a draw.
Yeah.
Who was
that? Who was that against?
I could tell you. Hold on a sec. Everton, I think it was, right? Yeah, Everton.
Okay.
Didn't you get the last second equalizer there from that Everton kid?
Yeah, because they beat
against Fulham.
Was it Fulham?
Well, now I'm going to go check for sure. All right, Tony. So listen, I sent you guys the league position of the next 5 opponents. Looks like things might get a little hot for Manchester City and Liverpool. in the coming in the coming 5 games, and Arsenal have on paper a little bit easier. Alonso, you went for Wolves, and Wolves were 20th, and Brighton were 5th, and
Mm-hmm.
Wolves
Oh, right,
drew.
okay.
Wolves drew that game, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Which was pretty. I think it was a late equalizer, very very late equalizer
Yeah.
that game as well. So what was I saying? Yeah, um, Liverpool and City have to face each other in 4 games from now. Man City play Bournemouth, who are in 11th, but after that they play 5th place, 7th place, Liverpool in first, and then number in 8th place. So it's going to get a little tough for City. Liverpool play Brighton, who, as you rightly point out, Alonso, they're pretty decent right now. They're in 5th
Mm-hmm.
place. Fourth place would be Chelsea. Well, I don't know if it's Chelsea, but Aston Villa. Liverpool play Aston Villa. Then they play the 19th place team, and then they play Man City and the ninth
Mm-hmm.
place team. So, relatively speaking, those are hard fixtures for Man City and Liverpool. We're coming toward the next 5 games. Will be get us to around 14 games in the league, and we'll be getting close to halfway stage. Then, Tony, we will need to close the gap on 4 points and 5 points to Liverpool and City, respectively. So that's where
Man,
we're at.
Brighton played Liverpool and City back to back.
Back to back
Wow.
now, yeah. But they're going to be different, vastly different teams. And, Brighton played them pretty tight yesterday. Although Liverpool looked comfortable. They went, for instance, they go 2-0 up, then Brighton scored. And then they went 3-1 up, and then Brighton scored. Red John said, if we don't get Odegaard back, we're not winning that Carabao Cup. The League Cup suddenly got more exciting once City got knocked out. Um, Liverpool are beasts in finals. Well, we can change that narrative, Red John. I don't. There's nothing to fear from Liverpool. We're unbeaten against Liverpool in 5 games now, 5 Premier League games, 3 draws, 2 wins. We've won the last before this Sunday game. We beat them twice, the last twice at the Emirates. I take Liverpool, United, or Tottenham in the final and make it more meaningful. It's not
Mm.
going to be easy. What does winning the Carabao Cup mean for your season? I don't know. It can be disruptive, but it is a trophy at the end of the day. And Arsenal fans, Tony, are saying that Arsenal need to win. We need to win things. You've said it yourself, Tony. We need to win
Yeah,
things, or those players will go. I don't think the players will go. We have Bukayo Saka, who will stay at Arsenal. He said he'd stay at Arsenal for as long as they want him there. Martinelli, the same. You know,
you don't think a certain center backs would be tempted by Madrid?
could be, could be. You know, that's where you have to go. That's where you have to go and get a player like Calafiori, or you have to go and get a player like Timber, who can step in those situations. Let's just say Saliba is sold in the summer to Real Madrid. Timber and Gabriel maybe form that partnership moving forward. Not that we want to be selling to Real Madrid, but
Yeah,
if it's 140 million, 150 million, are you saying no
you
to Saliba?
you'll have to say yes because you have to build your midfield. You look at the age of that, and you don't have one striker.
I mean, that could be at least 2 players, Alonso. With 140 million, you get 2 great players. You know, but
Ch- ch-
that's part of we don't want to be a selling club. We want to start winning things, Tony. So win the Carabao Cup, and maybe anything can happen in Champions League. We're going
Well,
to have some discussions this season about the Champions League, and we've talked about the Champions League in previous seasons in
winning the league,
preparation.
winning the League Cup isn't gonna keep any of those guys at Arsenal. Okay,
Yeah, as Red John said, Kroenke's taking a 150 million check to the bank and cashing it in. He's not spending it back, and he's not reinvesting it back into the team. Next time, Alisson will be back. We're not worried about Alisson though either. He couldn't stop Saka's goal or Marino's either.
I just wonder who at Arsenal was so naive not to get a attacker, knowing that the Champions League, this stage of it, would be all about getting goals.
It's a new problem.
The strikers out there everybody knows them. There's 2 or 3 of them on the market that are worthy. You know, one of them's at Newcastle. Isak.
No, that's what Stan wants.
That's what Stan wants. Let's hope Isak doesn't hurt us on Saturday, right?
Because his connections to Newcastle.
Yeah,
his great grandpappy.
That and also, that the history, but also he thinks, and rightly so, Isak has some of the traits that we remember from Thierry Henry.
And I changed my answer to your question, Ray.
Yeah.
I switched it to a Portuguese player because
Chris.
If you see that goal that he got in that second half of the Champions League game, it was just
where he took it past. He went parallel. He took it past the goalkeeper, and then he hit it so hard into the corner, right?
And 3 defenders.
Yeah. All right. Listen, I think we'll leave it there.
But anybody that likes attacking football needs to watch that second half of that Real Madrid game because it was just clinical, just
against Barca.
Clinical, just no, not Barca. The Champions League game.
Yeah, who were they? Who was Real Madrid playing?
German club, I believe.
Oh, okay. Leipzig or Bayern, was it? It was Bayern, yeah.
Yeah, okay. They were down 2-0 and won 5-2.
Can we loan Messi from MLS for a season? Messi could probably still do it in the Premier League, you know?
I mean, he could come in right now, couldn't he, since their season's over this weekend? Is it this weekend it's over? Or is it next weekend?
What is?
Next weekend.
MLS playoffs.
Oh, okay. Red John said we need a striker. I think we need to show the club.
Yeah,
the club,
yes, Ray. We need to. Stop there.
The club needs to show their ambition to the fans. That's what needs to happen in January. The club needs to show ambition to the fans. Listen, Stefan, thanks for being here. Listen, I started the show solo, and Tony came in, lended a hand. We had a good chat about snooker and TV shows and slags.
And rectums.
And rectums and slags. Slag. Alonso, you're tired?
No, I'm here.
He's just chilling. He's in that food coma now. He had that spaghetti.
Yeah, I'm watching the Texans game.
Oh, Texans, okay.
I'm a little disappointed in Alonso without Stan and Gary. I figured he'd put his foot down.
Who's this Paul Pot guy?
It's Tom Pot.
The
wee man.
Tom Pot.
Is it really?
Tom.
Tom, I have a question.
Linda Lizardi. So, question: Linda Lizardi making spaghetti for you, or Calafiore making spaghetti for you, Alonso?
It was a tag team effort.
An entire team effort. That's like a cliche.
It was a tag team effort.
Oh, okay.
I'll vote for Linda Carter.
What?
Wonder Woman.
Uh,
Wonder Woman meets Tony Virgo. There you go. That's the title. That's the title of the show.
I would
Tight team.
definitely, I would definitely love that after I hit puberty, right? Because Linda Carter was up there.
I think it would accelerate your puberty, Tony.
Hey, Tony, I go, Paul, I have money.
Tony be like, I'm not ready. I'm not ready, but I'm ready all of a sudden. You know. All right. We have a big weekend ahead of us. The Thursday night show is coming to an end. Thanks to everybody who's been here watching it. I will watch it as well with the Weetabix. Shout out to you, Gunnar Glenn. Shout out to all the people who watch us as well. Bao, Rohan, all those people. We got to get Rohan back in the rotation again as well, Tony. So.
We should have got him without Gary, and Gary's gonna be very disappointed when he listens back to this show.
Yeah.
And if you turn it to the trip on Monday and Tony's not there, it's because Gary did not like what I said tonight.
Oh, Tony,
He rules
be
with
fair.
an iron hand. He rules with an iron hand of Thanos, right?
Yep.
Tony, to be fair, Tony, he kicked me off his show, so
Yeah.
So whatever.
There you go. All right, Alonso. Early morning, Saturday. It's 7:30 for you, I think it is. It's 7:30 for me. So let's go.
I hate it that early.
Would you guys want to do a pregame show?
I'll be down. I mean, I'll be up. Man, I'm up for that.
Okay, it'll be early, but let's do it. Okay.
I better consume lots of coffee to be able to do that.
Which you probably have before, Tony.
I think it's a big game. Newcastle is a big game away from home, so the lineup will be important as well. You know what I mean? All right. Take care, both of you, and everyone out there watching. We'll talk a little bit more in the back room, chat room, but take care, and we'll see you on Sunday. Maybe pre-game show Saturday as well. Watch out for that. Take care.
See you guys.
One of your gooders. Nwaneri, he's the golden one.
We're Steve.